August 2021, the Maersk Essex embarked on an epic 2-month, 27,000-kilometer journey from Los Angeles to Asia, carrying 13,092 TEUs, standard 20-foot containers. Back in the day, that capacity was a record-breaking feat, but today, it's just another day at sea. The shipping industry has undergone a massive transformation, with mega ships and global supply chains redefining how goods move across the planet. So, how does ocean shipping really work, and why did the Essex have to wait 17 days just to unload? Buckle up for a deep dive into the world of container ships, global trade, and the chaos that can bring it all to a screeching halt. The rise of colossal container ships like the Essex reflects a relentless push for efficiency in the shipping industry. To cut costs, companies like Maersk, MSC, and Evergreen have gone big, really big. By packing more cargo onto fewer ships, they've slashed expenses through economies of scale. Today, the top 10 shipping companies control a whopping 85% of the global market, up from just 51% in 2000. With shipbuilding costs at historic lows, industry giants have invested heavily in massive new vessels, leaving older ships like the once mighty Essex looking average. These megaships focus on high-traffic routes connecting Asia, Europe, and North America, ferrying everything from sneakers to electronics across the globe. The Essex's journey began in Los Angeles, crossing the Pacific to Yokohama, Japan, in just 10 days. There, it spent 8 hours unloading cargo from the Maritime new containers for the round trip. As it sailed out into open waters, the ship slowed to a strategic crawl. Why? During the 2008 financial crisis, demand for shipping plummeted, while fuel prices soared. Maersk found a simple, yet game-changing solution: slow steaming. By reducing speeds from 22 knots to 14 to 18 knots, ships burned 10 to 25% less fuel. Despite old fears that slow speeds would damage engines, Maersk proved otherwise, and slow steaming became an industry standard. When markets are hot, ships speed up to deliver goods faster. But when demand dips, they throttle back to save fuel and cut costs. After Yokohama, the Essex crept along at 12 knots through the East China Sea, reaching Xiamen, China, in 5 days. It docked for 36 hours, unloading thousands of containers before continuing deeper into the Far East. This slow and steady approach isn't just a quirk. It's one of the 21st century's biggest innovations in shipping, balancing cost and efficiency in a cutthroat industry. The Essex's crew, mostly from the Philippines, highlights another key aspect of global shipping: its international workforce. About 77% of the industry's lower-tier labor comes from the Philippines, where cultural traditions and top-notch maritime training produce skilled sailors at lower costs. The Essex itself is a global mashup, owned by a Danish company, built in South Korea, registered in Panama, commanded by an American captain, and crewed by Filipinos, Indians, Bulgarians, and Russians. This diversity powers the industry, keeping costs low and ships moving. On September 10th, the Essex docked in Vung Tau, Vietnam, a hub for exports like shoes and clothing. Here's a mind-blowing fact. Shipping a pair of sneakers across 13,000 kilometers from Vietnam to the US costs just 30 cents. Before the pandemic, a 20-foot container holding 3,500 pairs of shoes cost about $1,000 to ship from Asia to the US. That's a fraction of the $20 retail price, showing how ocean shipping has made globalization possible by erasing geographic barriers. From Vietnam, the Essex sailed to Hong Kong, docking in Qingdao for 32 hours, then Shenzhen's Yantian port for 52 hours. Loading and unloading these massive ships is like solving a giant 3D puzzle. Sophisticated software optimizes every container's placement based on destination, cargo type, and storage needs. Containers headed for Yokohama are stacked above those for Xiamen to avoid unnecessary shuffling. Refrigerated containers are placed near power sources, while hazardous goods are kept accessible. Balancing the ship's weight is critical to ensure stability, making this high-stakes game of Tetris a job for computers, not humans. After a final 56-hour stop in Xiamen to load the last containers and restock supplies, the Essex began its longest leg on September 24th, crossing the Taiwan Strait, skirting Japan's coast, and navigating the busy Tsugaru Strait. It then braved the vast North Pacific, passing near Alaska's Aleutian Islands before hugging California's coast. On October 6th, after nearly 2 weeks at sea, the ship anchored within sight of Los Angeles, but then it waited. For 17 days, the Essex sat idle, longer than its entire Pacific crossing, waiting for a berth at Los Angeles' crowded port. The ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach, handling 40% of U.S. container imports, are the backbone of trans-Pacific trade, but they're also a bottleneck. Unlike smaller ships that can use the Panama Canal, limited to 14,000 TEUs and high fees, megaships like the Essex stick to the West Coast, where deep-water ports like Los Angeles, Long Beach, Oakland, Tacoma, and Seattle manage massive cargo volumes. These ports rely on robust infrastructure, roads, rails, and labor, to move goods quickly. At Los Angeles Berth 402, operated by APM terminals, giant cranes unload 30 to 40 containers per hour, transferring them to trucks or trains for distribution across the city or country. So, why the 17-day wait? The entire supply chain was overwhelmed. Post-pandemic demand for trans-Pacific shipping surged by 25%, clogging ports like a 4-lane highway reduced to 3 during rush hour. Containers piled up at docks, trucks waited longer to pick up cargo, and a shortage of trucks led to more delays. As containers lingered, storage space dwindled, slowing the unloading process. Ships like the Essex were forced to anchor offshore, unable to return to Asia for new cargo. This bottleneck even caused a shortage of empty containers in Asia, driving up costs as shippers scrambled to buy new ones. This chaos reveals the fragility of a system built on precision and scale. Ocean shipping, the engine of globalization, relies on flawless coordination. When one link, like port capacity or truck availability, breaks, the whole chain grinds to a halt. Yet, despite these challenges, the system keeps moving. Somewhere out there, the Maersk Essex is still sailing, shuttling containers between continents, keeping the world's economy afloat. Thanks for joining us on this journey through the wild world of ocean shipping. What's your take? Will these mega ships keep growing, or is the system too fragile? Drop your thoughts in the comments and hit subscribe for more stories about the forces shaping our world.